All right, I just want to make sure that y'all can hear me okay. I have somebody doing the lawn outside. They're a little loud. I'm not sure if you can hear any of that, but we'll work through it while they're out there. Thank you for letting me know. Looks like we are good with the mic. Thank you. Welcome. Oh my God, I see so many familiar names. Hi, Rhonda from Sausalito. I might butcher some of your names. I apologize in advance. Soka from Long Beach. Manal from Dubai. Kate from Austin. And Brittany from Philly. Yvette from LA. Christy, Atlanta. Hi, Megan from North Carolina. And Kelly from Charlotte. Hi, Kristen from Miami. And Alana, oh my gosh. All right. People tuning in from everywhere, not just the States, from the UK, from Asia. Great. So for now, I'm just going to ask that everybody keep themselves on mute. And if you, oh, it says cannot share video. So I'm not sure how to change that, but all right. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and get started. People are probably gonna be trickling in and out as we go along. But I'm really excited to be hosting this full moon in Scorpio circle with all of you. I've been hosting circles for, I don't know, for a few years now, and specific to astrology, it's been since June. So welcome everybody. So we're going to start off with a meditation to ground us a little bit. So you can do your meditation in a seat, you can do it lying down, whatever feels appropriate or comfortable for you. And you have the option of eyes open or closed. If you keep your eyes open, just find a spot in front of you that's not moving. I'm just going to go ahead and close my eyes. So just take a moment to notice any sounds that you may be experiencing wherever it is that you are. And you're going to invite all of these sounds to be a part of your experience today. And just kind of acknowledge that your mind may wander to these sounds, and then you may wander back. That is perfectly okay and perfectly normal. And then draw your awareness to your breath and the sensation of your breath. Notice the way that it feels in your body as you inhale and your ribs expand, your lungs expand. And notice the way that it feels as the air moves out of your system and your lungs. Your ribs recede back into your body and into your center. And then bring your awareness to all the points of contact that your body is making with the ground, with your seat, whatever it is that you're on. And notice your relationship to gravity as you tune a little bit deeper into this sensation. And from these points of contact, you're going to imagine roots growing out and down, penetrating into the floor beneath you, into the soil, the rocks, the limestone, making their way down to the core of the earth. And just begin to imagine that these roots begin to intertwine and braid with all of the roots that are present here today, with every single person. And as they braid and intertwine, there is a sense of grounding, there's a sense of stability, there's a sense of softening and releasing, and calling yourself deeper into presence. Energetically leaning into how each and every one of us are co-creators of this space. And begin to visualize, right? You might not know everybody that's here, but visualize that everyone is with you in one big circle. And then let your energy, your awareness, rise up from your roots and into your heart space. And from the center of your heart, a light beams out towards the center of the circle. And imagine that this light beam is receiving energy from the roots below, pulling energy up from the ground, pulling energy from everyone that is here with you into your heart and back out into the circle. Taking a moment to acknowledge the collective wisdom, the past experiences of everyone here, and how that's created these dynamic and diverse and unique people, dynamic, diverse, and unique perspectives, and how each one of us is uniquely strong, uniquely wise, and uniquely powerful because of our experiences. And then take a deep breath in through your nose. And open your mouth. Exhale, let all the air go. Draw your chin into your chest. And if you're seated, just bring your hands down onto the ground. If you're lying down, just bring your palms face down. Just come back to this space, come back to this moment. Come back to where it is that you are. And gently open your eyes. And return, right, to this space. All right. So I'm really looking forward into diving in, right, to the energy of Scorpio, the full moon, and what this entails for you and your chart, and you uniquely, you specifically. So I thought what would be easiest, I know a couple of you might be on your phone, so I'm going to be as specific and detailed as if you weren't able to see my screen. I did include some slides because I figured that would be the easiest way to go about this. So I'm going to share my screen with you so that you can see my slides. All right. All right. So full moon in Scorpio. All right. So just a little bit of background on astrology. I believe everybody here is probably a little familiar with it. But I thought I'd go ahead and give you all a little bit of a definition so we're kind of all grounded in a similar definition of it. So astrology is the study of the relative celestial movements and their relationship to an individual, a community, a society, the world. And I'm going to unpack relative celestial movements a little bit more, right? So we're all probably familiar with the signs, right? Aries, Taurus, Scorpio, Sagittarius. All of these are constellations in the sky, and they are fixed stars in the sky. Astrology and the way that we interpret these energies in the sky is from our perspective here on Earth, right? So from our perspective here on Earth, in this moment in time, the sun is in Taurus. We know that the sun doesn't move. The Earth does. So from our perspective, the sun is in Taurus. And this happens every 30 or so days, right, with the sun. The moon every 30 days orbits around the Earth, every 29 and a half days. And it's in each sign roughly 2 days at a time. And then we have the 8 planets. We're not including the Earth, right? Because everything is from our perspective. So the 8 planets also have their own unique orbit from our perspective here on Earth. So these are the relative celestial movements relative to us. The natal chart, which I'm gonna show you how to access that, just so we're kind of all on the same page. And if you already have it, great. So your natal chart is the exact position of the celestial bodies the moment that you took your first breath. Your natal chart is unique to you, unless somebody else in the world was born at the exact moment in time, actually the place that you were in, that exact particular moment, then, you know, that would probably be the only other people in the world that would have your exact chart, but it's kind of rare, so to you. And then the planets, the stars, and their positions in the galaxy, their relationship to each other also carry unique energetic influences, which we are gonna dive a little bit into today, right? So the moon's influence, right? We all have the moon in our chart. We all have the moon in different signs and different houses, which I'll get into a little bit more as we move along. The moon represents our spirituality, our emotions, and this is the fluctuation of our emotions from moment to moment. Your home, so where you physically live, and the home in you, the home in your body. your family, your ancestry, your sense of belonging. It represents the past, sacredness, maternal instincts, the person who birthed you, nurturance of self and others, your safety and security, your intuition. It is the things that you need to practice on a regular basis so that you feel at home, so that you feel like you are nurturing yourself, like you feel safe and secure, so you are really cultivating your sense of intuition and the sense of ease in your system and in your body and in your life. So we're gonna pull up our natal charts if you haven't done so already. I'm a fan of astro.com. Y'all might have your own ways of accessing your natal chart, but I'm gonna go ahead and show you. So when you go to astro.com, actually let me log out. I was kind of doing this a little bit earlier. So when you go to astro.com, right, this is what you see. You're gonna go to My Astro. Slowly thinking. And it's going to ask you, for some reason it's not letting me fully log out, but it's gonna ask you to sign in as a guest here. So create a horoscope immediately as a guest user, right? So you can use that. That way you can just skip the whole registration process. And if you want to register later, you can. And then you type all your information in, right? So I'll just use my information. If you don't identify as female or male and you type in event or other, I think there's some message that comes up. You know, it's a flaw in the system, so just choose whichever one if you don't identify as either. So April 17th, 1985. If your birth time is unknown, you can select unknown. I'm gonna select my 1 a.m. And I know there's a few of you, some of you it's more than one person, so you can kind of do this as I speak if there's more than one person present. So once you've got all of your information in, you're gonna go to continue. And then you go to extended chart selection. And a lot of this might seem very foreign to you. Just leave everything the way that it is. Don't touch anything. It's not going to do anything with partner. It's like a weird thing that they do with this particular site, so just leave it alone. For house system, I know a few of you probably use Placidus and equal houses. For any of you that are deep in this work, I work with whole sign houses. There's an option here that says whole signs. There's an option here that says whole, 1 equals Aries. You're gonna select whole signs, right? Everything else stays the same, right? So this is under options for zodiacs and houses, in case that didn't pop up for you immediately, right? So then you select click here to show the chart, big blue button, and then your chart appears. For those of you that have time unknown, you're not going to see the houses, right? Which are all these numbers that are in the center of the wheel. But you are going to see all of the zodiac signs, which are at the edges of your chart. So you're gonna note where your moon is, right? And the moon is in the shape of a crescent moon. So for me, it's in Pisces, right? I'm gonna describe these symbols quickly, and then we're gonna go through the signs quickly. So we have Aries, right? Which is the ram, which is like the V looking shape. We have Taurus, which is the bull looking shape. We have Gemini, which looks like the Roman numeral 2. We have Cancer, right? Which is kind of like these 2 6s, one on top of the other. We have Leo, We have Virgo, which is an M that has like an extra loop over the end. We have Libra, which is kind of like this little hump in the middle, right? We have Scorpio, which is the M with the arrow at the end. So that's the big distinction between Virgo and Scorpio, right? Sagittarius, which is the arrow. We have Capricorn here, which is kind of like, I don't know, this circle with like a little hat on the top. And then we have Aquarius, which are the two little squiggly lines, one on top of the other. And then Pisces, which is where my moon is in, right? Okay, so you kind of noted where your moon is. All right. So let me go back to presentation mode. All right. So this is a very basic, like the core essence of each sign. So you have an idea already of what the moon is, right? It's where you feel safe, secure, and grounded. It's the things that you need to practice continuously so that you feel safe, secure, grounded, so that you are nurturing yourselves. But it's like, in what way, right? Everybody is very unique. There are some people that need to practice yoga every day and meditate, right? I'm one of those people. There's some people that need to go on a run every day. I'm not one of those people, but that works for a lot of people, right? So for Aries, it's what are the ways in which you feel independent and what are the ways in which you can cultivate some level of competition. So this can be with somebody else, or this could be with yourself, right? Like setting your own goals and then competing with how much more you can go, right? In as far as reaching these goals. If it's competitive with others, I mean, it could be gaming, it could be a sport, anything in which you feel like you can compete with somebody else and feel independent, feel like your own person, and like you have your own sense of autonomy, something that's yours. For Taurus, it's cultivating stability and sensuality. So stability could be something that is routine, like it could look something like gardening. It could look something like connecting to the earth in some way. The ways in which we consume from the earth, right? So food would be something like delicious food and what feels good in my body and what tastes good, what is pleasing to my ears. Perhaps that's music or sound baths or things along those lines. Smell, essential oils, lighting incense, that sort of thing. Gemini, communication and adaptability. So with Gemini, it's so much, if you're a little bit more introverted, I would recommend communication more in the sense of writing or with the people that you really trust and like you can feel open with. If you are someone that is a little bit more extroverted, I would then recommend getting into conversations about anything, playing both sides, whether you agree with one side or the other, just for the sake of mental exercise, just for the sake of cultivating different thoughts and looking at things in different ways. For Cancer, I would recommend really connecting to your emotions now, and then the emotion now, and then the emotion now. And I know that might not be practical for an entire day. So perhaps there are moments in the day where you're checking in with your emotions and you're checking in with yourself. And as you connect to that emotion, then it's kind of like, okay, what do I need right now? And then what do I need right now? And then others' needs, right? For Cancer, it's so much about anticipating others' needs and really knowing what they need. Perhaps they don't even realize that they know that they need it. That can be something that feels really fulfilling for you and for your soul. For Leo, playfulness, self-expression, it's just like saying it loud. It's okay to be the center of attention. Infusing playfulness into everything that you do. and really making things fun and joyful and loud, especially being around children. I mean, that's like so fun for a moon and Leo kind of person. Virgo, organization and daily routine. The to-do list, even if you don't do anything on the to-do list. I know there's some Virgos that it's like, I'm too overwhelmed, I can't do everything. Even if it's just writing down the damn list and seeing it. Or maybe it is the actual organization. I need an organized home and I need to reorganize my home and I need to reorganize this. It's getting into some level of routine where you feel organized. For Libra, it is the arts, it is music, whether you are indulging in it, whether you are, I know we're kind of limited in what we can do as far as galleries and museums and that sort of thing. Maybe where you live, those things are open and you can go. Or perhaps you're a creator of art, or you're a creator of music, or a listener of music. I mean, there's so many people doing IG Fest live on Instagram. So just find the ways that work for you. And then partnership, it could be grounding if you are partnered, grounding with your partner, right? These are my needs, these are your needs. Libra is so much about finding the balance. So it's really cultivating that balance on a daily basis with partners. Scorpio, psychology and transformation. For Moon and Scorpio, and we're going to dive in a little bit more with Scorpio, so you're going to hear this theme again. Therapy with someone you trust, like deeply trust, and can be really open with. It can be anything where you feel like you just need to jump off the ledge and transform, like, fuck it, I'm gonna quit my job and I'm gonna go do this thing. Or, I mean, any drastic change that you feel you need because it feels more aligned with you, even if it seems out of left field. Sagittarius, foreign travel and ideology. So I again, foreign travel, not really in the cards for us right now. It could be learning about different cultures, whether it's through documentaries or joining Facebook groups or anything like that, taking courses to learn about bigger ideologies. So think of like yogic philosophy or religions or any kind of spiritual practice that a large group of people agree on as a set of practices. Capricorn is tradition and long-term strategy. Capricorn is it's kind of basing off of the past, the present, and the way that it strategizes towards the future. So for Capricorn, for you to feel safe, secure, and grounded, you need to create the long-term strategy and then the little steps of how you're going to get there, and feel comfortable delegating those little steps, whether that's in the household, whether that's with friends or coworkers or whatever it is. Capricorns tend to really like to work. So those are the kinds of things to keep in mind. And honoring tradition. I understand that a lot of us perhaps don't feel connected to our traditions or our ancestry. So what are traditions that you are not appropriating? I want to be very clear about that you're not appropriating, that you are using because it really resonates with you and is part of who you really feel that you are. And perhaps there are some own traditions that you can kind of cultivate as well and leave as a legacy. Capricorn is a lot about legacy and leaving behind. Aquarius is humanitarianism and innovation, volunteer work, getting out there, right? Being the activist. I mean, there's so much social justice related things happening right now. So there's a lot of that. And innovating your daily routine, like it doesn't have to be what's part of the past, like what is the now that makes sense for the now and makes sense for the future. And the thing with Aquarius, I want to just touch on this really quickly because I find Aquarius a little interesting, is that they learn the rules to break the rules. So it's like, let me learn all of this and see if it actually works. Oh, actually it doesn't work, so we can't use any of it. We got to start over. That's Aquarius. So how are you innovating? How are you changing the game? There's so much innovation going on right now with this quarantine. So yes, take advantage if you have an Aquarian moon to innovate. Pisces is the mystical and emotional. So what's different about Pisces with emotions is more about, it's like the Pisces moon feels the collective experience, and it's challenging for Pisces moon to really decipher what is mine and what is everyone's. And ultimately, it's the same. It's the same, right? There is no difference. So what Pisces needs is to retreat and meditate and really go within, and really dive into dream world, dive into your intuition, see what comes up for you. It's really allowing yourself that alone time where you are completely disconnected from anyone and everyone and everything. All right. So that kind of is the basics of your moon in your chart, right? So we're going to go through the houses. And the reason that we're going to go through the houses is we're not going to dive deep into your moon and the sign in relation to the house. What we're going to do is dive into Scorpio in the house that it's in. For those of you that have an unknown birth time, you're going to use the 8th house for Scorpio. Okay? All right. So Scorpio is the M, right, with the little arrow at the end. I'll just kind of note where that is in your chart as we go through these houses. So the first 4 houses are personal houses. That means it's like really, really, really about you, right? So the first house, also known as the ascendant or the rising, is your life. It's the direction that you're moving towards in your life. It has to do with the self, your appearance, your vitality, and your life force. The second house has to do with your assets, your resources, your livelihood, your wealth, the ways in which you relate to the earth, as well as your self-worth. I want to be really clear about assets and resources and acknowledge that a lot of astrology has been kind of developed or formulated in a way that is from a very capitalistic lens. Okay, so I just want to really acknowledge and really decipher that the amount of money you make and your self-worth are not related. I want to be very clear about that. So this is more about the way in which you use your resources as a reflection of your worth. The ways in which you bring resources in, how does that tie into your values, right? So resources and values are a little bit more closely connected here, right? So if you believe that we need to really think about our environment, then you need to kind of navigate, like, does it make sense for me to order from Amazon? Like, you know, I don't know. I just want to make that very clear. And I also want to like say, like, not everybody has that privilege. Maybe Amazon is the only thing that you're able to order from. So I just want to be a little clear with that too, and acknowledge everybody's unique experiences. So it's kind of navigating what makes sense for you. What is practical that I can do that is not going to really hinder my well-being. The third house is where the moon is in its joy. It really, really loves being in the third house. It is a house of the goddess. And this house is communication. It's your daily rituals. It's short distance travel from like here to the store, or here to your family's house, or here to your neighbor's house. It's siblings, it's extended family. I would even say chosen family. So there's another place in the chart, another house in the chart that has to do with friends. So it's not friends that are just like, you know, every now and then you catch up, or they're in and out of your life. These are the friends that if you need something, they're there. They are your rock, they are your support system. The fourth house has to do with your parents, your home, your foundation, your psychological beginnings, the past, ancestry, your sense of belonging, and it is the root of the chart. So as you can see, it kind of closely relates to the moon's energy. And the moon is also very happy in the fourth house, but it is most happy in the third house. Then we have our interpersonal houses. So this is kind of like where you begin to move a little bit more into your dynamics and relationships with others, beyond the home, right? Because family is very personal. So beyond the home. So your fifth house has to do with sex, relationships to pleasure, playfulness, children, and creative energy. Your sixth house is work, psychological and physical health, daily work and daily duties in relation to work and just your daily schedules and routines. With the sixth house, I also want to make clear, this is your work right now. There's another house that it's like long-term focus. So this is work in this present moment, or work that you are looking for, or your whatever it is that takes up the bulk of your time, right? Seventh house is committed partnerships. So this could be romantic or business. This is marriage, it's contracts and agreements, shadow, it's your projections, right? If you think about projection, it's what I feel, I project out onto someone else. Therefore, they are reflecting back to me, my shadow, right? And then the eighth house is where we actually do the shadow work. So the eighth house has to do with death, other people's resources, shared resources. And this could look like money. This could look like emotional, sexual, psychological. It's also our fears. So as you can see, we spoke a little bit about Scorpio already, and you read in the workshop description a little bit about Scorpio. So it's a house that closely correlates with that particular sign. And then we move into transpersonal houses. So this is almost like esoteric. We're getting a little bit up here, upper chakras, for any of you that are familiar with the upper chakras. So ninth house has to do with foreign travel, education, publishing, religion, divination, ideology, astrology, yay, and philosophy. 10th house is advancement. It's our actions and our long-term strategy. So this is the house that I kind of spoke about in the sixth house. This is where we want to move towards with our career or vocation, or I mean, it's really kind of like our life overall. It doesn't only have to be career. It's just where we're moving towards. This is also our legacy and public roles. 11th house has to do with community, friends, alliances, our hopes and dreams, and our good fortune. It's really like a house of luck. 12th house has to do with sorrows, suffering, loss, hidden life, how you relate to the collective consciousness. This is like really where the collective consciousness resides and your place in it, as well as your spiritual values. All right, so you all kind of more or less know, right, where Scorpio is in your chart. And again, if you had an unknown birth time, you're using the 8th house, right? So you've kind of noted, okay, this is where Scorpio is in my chart, right? So for this chart in particular, I mean, I'm just using myself as an example since you already saw this chart. For me, it's in the 11th house. Community, friends, alliances, hopes and dreams, and good fortune, right? So right here, right, 11th house. I'm gonna stop my share now. All right. So I want to kind of ground a little bit with this Scorpio energy, right? As we're kind of leaning into it and you kind of see where it is. I just see Scorpio looks like it's between 2 houses on my chart. Is that possible? So that means that the chart that you have is a Placidus chart or an equal house chart. So we are doing whole sign houses. So, okay, all right, so you're gonna change it, great. Okay, so with Scorpio, right? So Scorpio is intimacy. Scorpio is transformation. Scorpio is regeneration. It is the sign of rebirth. It is the sign of the alchemist. And I almost like to think, like, I think the Scorpion is a really great archetype for Scorpio. And I always feel called to speak a little bit more about the symbolism of the phoenix rising from the ashes, which is another archetype of Scorpio, right? The phoenix dies and is reborn over and over and over and over again. And it is usually, it has to dive really deep into the core of its shadow to fully understand how it needs to ultimately kill that version of yourself off so that you can be reborn. It is a process of transformation. I'm a firm believer in transformation, not in release, right? You hear things like release, you hear things like let go. To me, that feels like avoidance. I am a firm believer in when you are ready to confront something, when you are ready to really sit and be and embrace something, then you transform it. When you are not, you choose not to. You acknowledge that it's there and you say, you know what, not right now. That is also the power of Scorpio, right? So with this particular moon cycle, I'm going to kind of backtrack and then move forward again. When we work with the moon phases, we start with the new moon, right? That kind of sets the tone for that particular moon cycle. The new moon is always the same sign where the sun is, right? So right now the sun is in Taurus. And we had the new moon in Taurus on April 22nd, I believe it was. I can't remember the exact date. 22nd, I think. So that is the energy that we're working with, right? The energy of Taurus is about creating stability and groundedness. I find it rather appropriate, right, in this moment in time, in the energetic experience that we're in right now, stability, our relationship to the earth, shifting our values or aligning even deeper into our values. As we go into that energy of Taurus, into that, okay, I'm gonna work with this energy, what happens? When we start a goal, when we kind of set out on this thing, like, okay, I'm gonna do this thing. I set my intention, I create this goal, I do this thing. Fear comes up, right? Maybe not right away, maybe for some of us right away, but maybe not right away, maybe down the line, like, oh my God, that fear I have about XYZ. Oh my God, that challenge. Oh my God, that limiting belief. That is the shadow coming up. So while I'll use myself as an example. Scorpio 11th house, hopes and dreams, alliances, friends, larger networks. I have a really big fear of expanding and really leaning into my bigger hopes and dreams. I sell myself short, right? This particular workshop, I am in front of a lot of people I don't know. This is a brand new partnership. This is 11th house energy. This is also where I have my deepest fears. I find it really hard to use my voice around people I don't know that well. So the fear that I'm working with is that, right? But what is at the core of that? What is this? Let's peel it back even more, right? At the core of that is I feel stupid. I feel unworthy. I don't feel qualified. Where does this come from? Where do those particular things come from? What wounding has happened along the way that has made these fears, that has made these challenges, that has made these limiting beliefs really prevalent in my system? I can think of a lot, right? I'm just going to use one example. I grew up, I went to private school. I went to Catholic school. I had a lot of beliefs and ideas and feelings about the things that were being taught that did not resonate with me. And I never felt the courage. I never felt the permission to fully express that, because there was so much discipline and there was so much, no, that's not the way, this is the way. No, that's not the way, this is the way. I'm sure a few of you can probably resonate with that in some way, shape, or form, right? And it was through that, and being in front of my peers, being in front of my friends, that I felt like I couldn't fully express because all of my ideology was different. Oftentimes, my ideology, when I did express it, was hindered. And in that, I then felt really even more challenged to express, right? So that's the trauma. That is the fear. That is the limiting belief. What I say doesn't matter. I'm not qualified. I'm not good enough. I'm going to cause conflict, right? Whatever all those things are. What the power is from that, regardless of whatever your beliefs are, I am going to hold them for you. I'm not going to question them. I am not going to challenge them. I'm going to be there with you, and I'll probably ask you questions so that you can get deeper in your own thought process around whatever your beliefs are. But I don't judge you. I might feel judged for mine, but I'm not going to judge you ever. So that is the power that I have kind of gotten from that experience. That is Scorpio. I have gone through some shit that made me feel fucking awful. And it's also created this beautiful expression of myself when I interact with others, right? So I saw a question earlier, if you don't have Scorpio in any of your houses. So you have to use the whole signs, right, in the chart, and then you'll use the 8th house, right? So you'll use the 8th house. The 8th house is It has to do with the energy of Scorpio. It has to do with your fears. It has to do with your relationship to psychology and transformation and your shared resource with other people. Financial, emotional, psychological, physical, all of those things. So you're going to really think about what it is. What is the fear? What is the fear in relation to that particular house? And again, if you do not have houses, you're using the 8th house, right? You're using the 8th house. So let's close our eyes for a moment. And if you prefer to keep your eyes open, just find a spot that's not moving in front of you. And as you breathe in and out, you're going to connect to your pelvic bowl and all of the organs contained in it, right? Your reproductive organs, whether you physically have your reproductive organs or not, right? For whatever circumstances you've been through in your life. Your digestive organs in this area, right? Your intestines, your colon. This, in medical astrology, is Scorpio. Right? If you think about your sex organs, this is where the egg and the sperm unite and transform into a baby. And then the baby is continuously transforming, right, till it can come out of the womb. This is where your process of elimination happens. It is transforming the energy of food into waste, into elimination. From this space, right, you're going to bring both of your hands onto this space, one over the other, right below the navel. You're going to tune into the energy of this space. Right, for any of you into chakras, I'm familiar with chakras, sacral chakra. Also Scorpio energy. You're going to lean into the emotion, into the fear, the shadow. Get to the core, get to the root. And if you feel resistance, take a moment to ask yourself, am I feeling resistance because I'm truly not ready? Or am I feeling resistance yet curious and willing to travel through? Notice any sensations that arise in your body. Right, sensation in the body is Taurus. We connect our emotionality and our physical sensations together. The polarity of the two. And as you're leaning into that fear, the way that it feels in your body, take a moment Open your eyes. You're going to grab your journal, right? And on a blank sheet of paper, if this is a journal that you don't mind ripping the page out, right? If it is, then grab a piece of paper that you don't mind doing that with. And you're just going to write down everything that you are experiencing. All the fear, the core, essential. If you feel like right now is not the time, the resistance told you not now, write that down. I'm not ready now, right? And you can write down why you're not ready. If you want to free write a little bit, that's okay. And I'm just going to give you about 1 minute to just write it down. Don't worry if you mess up on a word or you didn't spell it right or it didn't come out the right way. Just keep writing. Write it over in the way that you want it to come out, right? And as you're writing, just notice sensations. Notice what comes up for you. All right. So I'm going to invite for any of you, I'm going to put this in gallery view so I could see everyone. Oh, I can't see everyone. Okay, so you're going to write in the chat for any of you that feel called to. Very essential, 1 sentence. What fears? What is the core that came up for you? You don't have to if you don't want to, right? So I want to honor that too. Be in your space of power, your space of autonomy here. Write down what it is that came up for you. Right in the chat box. So the fear of not being a good mother. I'm sure that I know that there are many mothers on the call too, and they probably resonate with that too. So thanks for giving voice to that experience. The fear of letting go of the known. I know it's very comfortable and reassuring to know what's happening. And we're really being almost forced in a way to just kind of roll with the unknown. So thanks for really bringing voice. I'm sure everybody can really connect with that experience. Not worthy. Not worthy. I see you, sister. Not worthy. Fear that I won't be taken seriously. Speaks for me. Numb, in need of reawakening, healing, trauma transformed. When we're not ready, right? There's like this numbing that we can do, kind of like I'm just not going to feel right now. And that's such an appropriate response when it comes to transforming trauma, when it comes to really stepping into healing. Sometimes we need to numb ourselves as a sense of safety. We cannot Our system cannot handle it. We cannot handle it. It is too much. Appropriate response. Thank you for bringing that up, Oro. Super powerful. Fear of acceptance. Whew. Yes, fear of acceptance. Fear of being irresponsible. Fear of rejection. Fear of being seen. Oh, being seen, right? So vulnerable. And it can really tie into it. And I don't know if this is your experience or not, but tied into fear of acceptance, fear of being irresponsible, fear of rejection, fear of vulnerability. Fear and distance felt relating to my reproductive organs due to past trauma and dealing with PMDD. Oh, thanks for that very vulnerable share, Megan. Fear of expanding the idea of who I am. Yes. The fear that if I don't earn and perform the way I always have, that I am no longer worthy, that I am unsafe, that I am vulnerable and will end up alone. I'm seeing a lot of very similar shares here, right? It's like really stepping out of what is comfortable for us, stepping out of what's known, right? Fear of detachment through spirituality. Yes. Oh my gosh. Yes. Fear of being behind, not enough, and being in a state of chaos. Yeah, it's like being in a state of chaos can almost bring upon like, oh my God, am I behind? I have like so much crisis going on around me. Am I behind on all the things? That's so real, especially in the world that we live in. And like any of us that live here in the Western world, in a capitalist system, it's so much about producing and how much you do and your status and how far along you are and where you're supposed to be at whatever age. And it's like, I think like as long as you're feeding yourself and, you know, doing your daily practices or doing your routine, that's like more than enough, right? Forget everything else. Everything else is just like one extra thing you gotta do. Is this the fear of eliminating this relationship from my life because it no longer serves me, or the fear of all that I have to embody, travel through, and call forth for myself in order to stay in the relationship and thrive rather than just survive? That is like a big thing, right? To navigate. Is it, do I need to continue doing my own work in this partnership, or is the work cutting the partnership and moving on? That's a really big question for you to dive into and figure out what feels appropriate for you at this time. I'm sure you already know the answer. I'm sure you already know the answer, right? Fear of success. Fear of not living up to my perfectionist standards. Yeah, so much of this. It's the known, it's the being seen. It's not easy, it's uncomfortable. And saying it out loud, right? Saying it out loud, even typing it out, writing it down, perhaps even me saying it out loud to the group, is a way of finding power in that vulnerable share, right? It's like, here it is, here's what's at the center, and I'm going to use this as my power. Vulnerability takes fucking courage, right? Being all put together, navigating as usual, domination of will, that's not power. Vulnerability is power. And even you just being here today, and being in this practice is being in your power. And it's really embodying that energy of Scorpio. So I'm gonna invite you all. This will be on your own, right? This will be on your own. You're gonna take your paper, right? You're gonna burn it. You can burn it in your sink. You can burn it in a mason jar. I can actually show you my mason jar where I burned my fears recently. I'm actually going to bury this in the ground. So once you burn it, you dig a hole in the ground and you cover it up and you water it, right? Because you're literally transforming this energy through the energy of fire, right? Fire is a transformational energy for any of you that are familiar with the elements. So with this particular ritual, right, that you do every full moon, right, what I want you to really lean into is your natal moon. This is what keeps you grounded. This is the thing that you need to keep coming back to over and over and over again, your daily routine to keep you, right, stable. You ground as you move into this transformative full moon energy, right? You come back, right? This is where you operate from, the seat that you operate from. So Lalita brought up a very good question. What if you don't have a yard? You can flush it down the toilet, right? Also Scorpio energy, right? We eliminate in the toilet and you flush it. All right, you're welcome. Okay, so does anybody have any astrological questions? I know we're a little bit over time, so if you gotta go, you gotta go. But I did see some questions while you all were writing down your fears around if I can explain how to get the chart. So I'll connect with my co-hosts and I'll give them a PDF step-by-step process on how to access your chart in case you need to revisit that later on, especially for those of you that don't have that we're just calling in, right, instead of being on the video. So while y'all are kind of thinking about that and leaning into that a little bit, I just want to share, and I want to thank you all for being here today and being in this experience. It was so wonderful, really hosting this and guiding you all through this together. And I want to extend an offer to all of you, right? So for Mother's Day, it's Mother's Day here in the States, right? It's going to be on Sunday. I am extending a 15% off, right? So you can come to my website, moonalchemy.co. It's if you have Zoom and you can see, it's like it's my username on Zoom, moonalchemy.co. That's how you can find me everywhere. Website, Instagram, Facebook, that's it. And there you can find all my astrological offerings. So if you go to moonalchemy.co/astrology, I offer 3 different types of charts. And you can book also through WellSet. There is a way to find the practitioner, right? And I'm listed under there as well. And there are some things that I have coming down the pipeline later on. I'll be offering a program on how to get a little bit deeper into the moon phases and the astrological signs and the houses and how all of those things work together. So that'll be coming out over the summer. And I am also going to be incorporating some group and private programs within that. So there'll be an online version, right, a self-study version. There'll be a group version, and there'll be a private version. So any format that you would like, and I'll be announcing that in June. And then I see some questions here. So can you please put up again the second astrological chart? Okay, let's see what GK means by second astrological chart. Let's see. I'm going to share my screen one more time. What I'll do, I'm not entirely sure what you mean, but I'll go through. I'm going to kind of taking a minute. There we go. Okay. So we have the personal houses, right? We have 1, 2, 3, and 4. Right? So maybe you meant the second house, assets, resources, livelihood, wealth, the ways in which you relate to the earth and self-worth. And then let me show you the chart that I had here as an example, which is my chart, right? So you see the houses in the middle. Some if you have an unknown time, there are no houses, right? So you would use the 8th house. Right, so you won't see 8 on your chart, but you'll use the 8th house as kind of like a placeholder, right, of Scorpio, right? Astrological charts with the suns. Oh, okay. All right, so that was this. So this, where you see the 4th house, right? So this is just specific to me, right? That's Aries. And then to the right of it, the 5th house is Taurus. And then to the right of that is Gemini. And then Cancer, Leo, Virgo, Libra in the 10th house, Scorpio in the 11th house, Sagittarius, Capricorn, Aquarius, and Pisces. Does that answer your question, GK? Oh, the descriptions. Okay. Which description are you looking for specifically? And I guess I can just show you both because there's only 2 slides. All right, so here we have Aries through Virgo. And then I'm going to switch over. We have Libra through Pisces. All right, Brittany, how do we tell which house we're in? What does that mean? Which house we're in? You're welcome, GK. Yes, so Kate is asking, so will the Scorpio moon today impact each person differently depending on which house Scorpio is in? Exactly, that's why we went through each house, right? And then within each house, there are particular energies that we're working with. So what is the fear that is associated with that particular house? That is what's being illuminated a little bit more at this particular full moon, right? So next full moon, you're going to look at the next sign, which is going to be Sagittarius. So you'll look at Sagittarius in your chart, and then you'll kind of navigate, okay, what are the fears associated with that? So how long will we feel this energy of the full moon? Honestly, it fluctuates. That is the thing with the moon. The moon is cyclical. It's not linear. The sun is linear. The moon is cyclical. Everybody is impacted differently. So you're going to have to kind of lean into that on your own and just take it moment by moment and see how that feels for you. And I'm going to emphasize this again. Keep coming back to your natal moon energy. What do you need to feel grounded and stable and secure in this moment? Day to day, keep coming back to that. Keep grounding in that. So you said to use the 8th house if we didn't enter our time, but I entered mine. So Brittany, you're looking for Scorpio in your chart. right? So where Scorpio is, there's going to be a number right at the center on that particular piece of the pie. That is the house that you're looking at. So I can go back. Okay, you got it. I can go back to that house. Maybe you were taking some notes as I was going along, but it's that particular house. Yeah. Oh, thank you, Tori. All right. So thank you so much for this experience. You'll get an email with a copy of the video. I'm going to send an email today to our co-hosts so that somebody had asked how to access your natal chart. So I'm going to send them that information so that you can get that. And then as you revisit the video, if you need to, it'll be easier to navigate and just already have that information. All right. So again, moonalchemy.co, 15% off readings with me through Sunday. Just we can book for later, but if you purchase now, right through Sunday, you'll get that 15% off. All right. Thank you so much. If you have any questions or anything, feel free to contact me through Instagram. I'm really big on Instagram. All right. Bye, everyone. Thank you, Alana.